People who broke up and got back together. What happened? Before I went off to my freshman year of college, everyone warned me to stay away from party girls. They'd always tell me stories about how they all had daddy issues and would break my heart for some lines of Coca-Cola. But when I walked into my first frat party and saw the hottest goth girl in my life, I ignored all of the warnings. She was downing Pink, Whitney and Jungle Juice like it was water, even finding herself doing some funky version of the cha-cha slide in the middle of the living room, but I couldn't keep my eyes off of her. I honestly thought she could either be my best friend or my soulmate, but I stayed away from her because I saw nearly every guy all over her the whole night. When I went home that night, I dreamed of her and her pretty smile. I was obsessed with the idea of her the entire week after, and I basically searched for her in every crowd. A little creepy, but worth it. The next weekend, I went to another frat party and once again, there she was. She was drinking nearly the entire party's substance supply again. And once again, I couldn't keep my eyes off her. I started drinking a little myself, but halfway through the night, I had to drop all of my drinks. The girl stopped dancing and drinking, and now was arguing loudly with some dude. I kept my eyes on them closely, but then I noticed the guy trying to put something in her drink, and I got up right away. As soon as the guy looked away, I snatched the girl away and tried to get some water to freshen up. By the time I got her to settle down, she had vomited down my shirt twice. But I just brought her back to my dorm room and cleaned up her face before taking off her heels and letting her sleep on my bed while I passed out on the floor. I promise, I didn't do anything to her. The next morning, I woke up to her literally stepping on my face and rushing to leave. I had to jump up and beg her to stay. I knew it looked bad, so I told her I was helping her. After she calmed down, that's when we actually got to know each other more. She was very adamant about finding out what I knew people were saying about her. And I could tell she was scared of me because of how little she would actually tell me about herself. But I told her not to worry about what everyone else was saying since I wanted to know her for her. She told me she liked me but couldn't handle anything serious. That was fine with me because I wasn't either since I just got dumped. I actually didn't get dumped, but I didn't want to seem too pushy. After that, for an entire year, we had a friends with benefits situation. We promised no strings attached, but it didn't stay that way. What we did have was incredible. It didn't matter where we were on campus. We were humping like bunnies, in between classes, before my sports practice, in bathrooms, after her academic decathlon. It didn't matter when. It was like we were addicted to each other, but then I messed up. One night I had a little too much to drink and she started giving me top. And when I was finishing, I slipped out an I love you to her. She just did it so well, almost like she had a lot of experience. She literally wiped off any liquid kids she had on her face and walked straight out the door like some movie star. I never saw her again. I never met anyone like her again. She opened me up intimately and destroyed me in a second. After she left, I coasted through college very quietly. I graduated, got a job, and moved states to move into a cozy little apartment. I dated some girls who looked eerily like Day and even called a few of them by her name in the middle of doing it. Safe to say they trashed my apartment and left immediately. I read a lot of self-help books just to better myself, and at this point, I had already made my peace that I've lived my life without ever seeing her again. Up until last Monday, when I got a follow request from her, I was so nervous and unsure of doing this again. So I didn't accept it until Wednesday. When I did accept it, she started talking to me. She apologized and told me that she didn't know how to handle someone loving her at the time, especially someone that she loved back. She ended up dropping out of school later on because she had a great job offer that didn't require her degree anymore. She told me she's in my town for the week for work and this guy she knew said I was living here. We talked and I asked her out for dinner on Friday and she agreed. I was incredibly stoked. I did a little dance in my living room. When it was date night, she showed up at my front door and had an entrance that reminded me of Mary Jane's from Spider-Man. Face it, Tiger, you hit the jackpot. I gave her the flowers I bought her. Then we went and got pizza and walked around the park. Those 2 hours felt like an eternity and I felt like I was content with my life ending there. We laughed so hard, got great gelato, and even kissed while a dude was playing his French horn in the park. He even tried to get her number and she declined. Yeah. It was actually really romantic. It brought back those feelings of love back in college. It was hard not to look at her and imagine how she looked when my liquid kids were all over her. After the date, she asked to go back to my place, and after some time watching TV on my couch, I felt a hand on my thigh. She crawled on top of me and told me she wanted to talk. I said okay. She told me that she wasn't completely honest about why she left. The real reason she left was because while she did love me, she couldn't be in a relationship with someone who was selfish in bed. She said I always asked for top and would never make her finish. But she came to my city because she missed me and my quirkiness and hoped that maybe a relationship could come back. And she could look past not being satisfied intimately. This sparked something in me. I wasn't mad, but I was in a way. I wish she had just told me that before, but I was excited because I knew exactly what to do. This was my time to shine. I had had a lot practice leading up to this moment. I gently pulled her off of me and told her to trust me and get ready in my bed. While she did that, I went to my cabinet and grabbed an arousal oil. My last girlfriend taught me this. I knew for a fact that this was gonna relax her when it was time. I was ready to show her just how much I missed her. I got in my bed with her and we made out. While doing so, I kissed her neck and had the arousal oil in my other hand, rubbing it slowly over her button, making sure that it seeped through to calm her down. She asked me what exactly I put on her, and when I told her it was for you, she said she had heard of it before. I told her I wanted her to feel what she's been missing all this time with me. I asked her how it felt and her HUA responded for her. It was gushing wet. She kept squirming in bed and I held her still because of how restless it was. I kept teasing her with the arousal oil and she kept begging me to just do it to her. When I did, I made sure to grab intimacy oil, rub it on myself, and do the shallow deep technique on her, and she lost her mind. My room was completely dark and all I could hear was her calling for me the same way she did in my dreams. Eventually, she was writing me and told me that she loved me. I said it back and all of a sudden I was back in college and hopelessly in love with her. It helped that the intimacy was amazing for both of us this time because we used the arousal and intimacy oils. And in a matter of minutes, her legs were shaking and she climaxed, which must have lasted around 5 minutes. Instead of passing out right after like I used to, I kept my eyes wide open all night to see if she would stay with me. Halfway through the night, I must have closed my eyes, and when I woke up the next morning, instead of seeing all of her stuff packed and gone like she did last time, she was just making me breakfast saying, "I've never had a more amazing time than last night." So ladies and gentlemen, from personal experience, use it for your arousal or intimacy oil if you have any bedroom issues. It helped me so much I got the love of my life back.